from Apex Studios, Apex Educational Studios here in Philadelphia. This is Brother Hanif doing part 2 with Brother Sabir Bey. Our subject for tonight is going to be on the black codes, which originated somewhere around 1724, and we're going to move forward from that particular period, and we're going to take a look at how these particular black codes are still in effect under different maybe titles, names, subjects, but are affecting contemporary issues concerning people of olive hue here on these shores of North America in the corporate state of United Stadium. Is that what this is, brother? The United Stadium?
It's not like the United Stadium.
Yeah, the United Stadium.
United Stadium.
Okay, all right. Come on with it, brother. What are the black codes? What are they?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody again that is maybe looking at this video abroad, wherever you at. Civil Alert is just I don't want to say a researcher because it means to do with, well, we could say research, research thing, but an investigation also, look into these things. What I do is that basically I want people to grab pens, pieces of paper, and start doing your own research on this information, because there's a lot of misconceptions out here, and like I always bring up, if a man don't treat you right, he damn sure ain't gonna teach you right. And I believe that was Brother Khalid Muhammad who made that comment. So in this chapter here, what we're gonna do in this DVD, and I have various DVDs I just actually got done doing. One is actually called The Vibrations of Confusion, with correcting the idiocracy of Brother Seti. And this DVD is also available. So you can reach me also at Civil Alert World at yahoo.com. Again, that's Civil Alert World at yahoo.com for any kind of booking, and as far as speaking engagements. But with this, what I'm trying to do is clear up. I talk to a lot of people. I share, I talk with Brother Hanif, a lot of other individuals on these topics, like on a daily basis. And we get into this whole thing. Everybody saw the news with O.J. Simpson not too long ago getting convicted. About him basically stealing his own stuff. That's what it was about. And I watched something the other night on CNN with there's a couple people that's up there. They had all attorneys on it. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they was basically talking about how 5 jurors was on there talking about, or they're not going to acknowledge. They know that he killed his wife, but yet they're not going to convict him on that. In reality, they really did that. And they had some bogus attorneys that's up there also. And that's all they put up there is those bogus attorneys talking this garbage. But like I said, this is facts that we deal with. All right, we're not dealing with our opinion, our belief systems. It's not about religion. It's not about no color. As far as people keep saying, because black and white is not colors. We're not dealing with that. All right. So I want to thank everybody for joining again on this 10th day of December, 2008. We're going to clear up a lot of the stuff about what is the black codes. Why was the black codes put in play? How did that affect us in the 21st century? So, as I started examining a lot of these things and how people are not bringing a lot of stuff up, I was like, wow. When I read these codes and saw that it was Mike Vick, O.J. Simpson, and what's that guy's name? Burroughs or Burrell, the guy from New York.
Right, football player.
Shot himself.
Shot himself in the leg.
For those that doubt what I'm saying and say, well, this stuff is old or whatever, I want you to go pick up the black codes, even if you Google this. The black codes of Virginia, the black codes of Mississippi, the black codes of Michigan. All these codes are there dealing with the freed Negroes. And one of the parts that I wanted to bring up and to show people about Negroes not having guns. Now, if anybody who studies law, period, they would know a license is basically a privilege. I want to throw this out there first of all. And if you can, I want to see your law dictionary too. I mean your regular Webster's dictionary. And I might need you to look some stuff up in there. For those, I don't know if you know or not, that a license is a granted privilege. Repeat that again. Licenses are granted privileges for an occupation, everybody. It's not a right. It's a privilege, but who gives you the right? So whoever gives you the right can take it from you. All right? So God gives me my rights. So you can't take anything from me. So I just want to take it and how to always have to bring this up. This is taken from Black's Law's Dictionary, not Black Man's Dictionary. Black Man's Dictionary would be something totally different. You know, we be making up our own stuff. We can drink while we drive. You know what I mean? We can do stuff like that. They might have that in there. I don't know. Smoke weed while we in the car. I don't know. But this guy name is Henry Black. Henry Black. That's who the author of this Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition. So if you don't have a hold of any law dictionary, grab it. Get a law dictionary. In this law dictionary, it says a license is a personal privilege to do some particular act or series of acts and on land without it. So it's basically, it's a privilege to have a license or a car, to drive a car or have a gun. All right. But now I want to show people. I want to show you. We want to get into some other things. As soon as I find it, I lost my page. My paper came out. Now, I want to read something. Now, everybody heard about, I don't even follow sports. You know I'm not a sports dude. I just knew Mike Vick because they pumped him up, or O.J. Simpson. We know him from football. And you notice they all football players? Wow. They got in this jam. Let's say Kobe Bryant. He's another one, too. Mm-hmm. You got him, too.
Sports players.
Yeah, sports players, because they don't have no brains. And this is a learning tool. This is what this thing is. This is learning tool. This is classes in session. I just want to read a couple of things taken from a couple of black codes, and I just have them here to show you what is going on. This is the one. Yes, it is. This is taken from the penal codes. Now, we all dealing with, a lot of us get involved. We got jammed up. We know the penal codes and what is happening as far as brothers and why so-called Negroes couldn't have guns. This is taken out of the penal code, section 1, from the black code. It says the enactment by the legislature by the state of Mississippi that no free Negro, repeat, no free Negro or mulatto. And it's funny, honey, remember that that guy that called us Negroes? We was in Delaware and we had to correct them and say that we weren't Negroes, I was a Moor. Mm-hmm. Think about it, it was a guy actually referred to Hanif and I in Delaware as being Negroes. We didn't get upset. Why? Because we weren't Negroes. But if you accept that, you go along with that, and you carry somebody else's name, you could possibly be that. But I don't acknowledge it. I told him I was a Moor. But anyway, it says the state of Mississippi that no free Negro or mulatto, not in the military, wow, not in the military of the United States government, and is not licensed to do so by the Board of Police of his or her county, shall keep or carry any firearms or any ammunition, dart or bow or knife. Think about it. It said they shouldn't have a knife, a bow, or any kind. It said any free Negro. Now, you have all the so-called Negro politicians and Negro radio stations telling you what?
Turn in your guns.
Turn in your guns. They don't go to the militia and tell them to turn their guns and do that.
No.
Why? Because the laws on the books, and you got to love the way they do this. It's for the safety of the community. The guns is not the problem. The guns is not it's the person behind the gun. It's the problem.
That's actually one of the NRA's, National Rifle Association's claims too. That the issue isn't the guns.
It's the individual behind the gun.
Particularly when they're carrying the military assault rifles.
Wow, wow. And they bought a lot of them. You just shared something with me about after Barack Obama's election. They sold, and I heard that they sold over $100,000 worth of guns.
Yeah, Texas, after starting the 5th of November, in Texas, they started, the sales started escalating to the point where the FBI became concerned because they were up to in the neighborhood of about 1,500
wow.
new licenses per day for weaponry in the state of Texas alone. That's not counting any place else. They were just talking about Texas.
Wow. Now think this. If you watch what they're saying, they said no free Negro could have any kind of weapon. No weapon without a license. I was on the radio, and the guy said, well, brother, The guy didn't get locked up for shooting himself in the leg. He got locked up for not having a license for a gun. And I told him he's not paying attention to what I said to him. I said, he's a Negro that should not have had a gun. He shot himself. I said, listen, you have to study the black codes to find out what's going on. That's what I shared with him. And he thought he was trying to tell me something. And I said, dude, I'm not talking about that. If they said if we give them, and the Art of War states that also, if we give them guns, make sure those guns are our guns. Mm-hmm. So now if I want to come get the gun, I know everybody who has a licensed gun because it's already marked, it's registered. This is the propaganda that's being put out right now. You must have a gun. So now they have to put poster boards up, give somebody a gun, X, Y, and Z. They create the climate. They create these things to happen the way they're happening. But nobody's really in the media talking with these entertainers and saying, listen, brother, don't be stupid, dude. You know what I mean? At least get somebody that you're with that can at least, because it's a business. Think about it for a minute. If I hire you, you getting paid. It's an occupation, right?
Right.
You're my security guard now. Now you can have it, but I understand the law states that I have a right to bear it. If you can argue that issue, but the status issue, again, is who you are. Do you have a right or a privilege to bear that arm? Because the Constitution says that you have a right to bear arms. But the black code said the Negroes, the free Negroes, not slaves, these are free Negroes. You can research this stuff. It said free Negroes.
So in essence, the black codes has superseded constitutional law. Is that what you're saying?
It don't supersede it. The black codes don't really do that, but there were laws in the counties that, okay, we can free the Negroes, but we can put the laws on the books that they can't have guns. So now, only if you're working for the slave master, that's for all the Negroes on the police department too. All the Negroes that's on the sheriff department. Because now I gave you the privilege to do that.
How does this tie back into the conversation in our last tape talking about territories? So you're saying based on the territories?
Based on the territories.
Okay.
Based on if you are in that territory jurisdiction, or, you know, let's say, because people get it messed up. They think in the state is the territory. Territories are inside states, period. So if you're in a geographical area, that's the territory of the United States. But still, we can license you to be there. So the guy that shot himself or any other so-called brother that's there, they cannot have guns. Only if the slave master said, yes, you can have the gun. And it actually was for hunting. You know?
Which is interesting. A lot of the slave codes themselves only allowed, quote-unquote, free Negroes to do certain things if they were somehow given the right by European or former slave masters, or if they were in the service of.
Mm-hmm, yes. And this is why these things are happening right now. So brothers say, well, I got a license to carry a gun, I feel better than you. Well, no, you have a right to do it, but we have to change the people's mentality. We have to change the people who's carrying the gun. Let's go talk with them and build with them, instead of killing each other. This is why I love certain brothers like you, Hakeem, from Channel Light. Like, we all build on this thing. Let's stop the violence. Let's stop the violence amongst each other. How do we do that? We have to communicate and talk with one another. This is how we stop this. Mm-hmm. It ain't, like I said, it ain't the gun. I could be a spokesperson for being shot many times when I've been shot. But it's not the gun itself, it's the person behind the gun. I'm against gun control. Control your gun. I'm against gun control. Control it. Mm-hmm. All right? So here's some more parts inside here. This also states that the Negro may not carry knives or firearms unless we're licensed to do so. He says, if it was an offense to be punished by, now this is back then, they charge people a little bit more, don't they? This says $50 fine. They charge you like crazy right about now. I don't know how much.
They charged my man $100,000.
$100,000. Oh, they damn sure did. They charged him $100,000. It's wow how this is blended into what's happening. It says to be punished by a fine of $50 and imprisonment for 30 days to give or sell. Wow. And it said.
So they did give him 5 years.
Huh? Today they give him 5 years.
What they call it a criminal act, though.
Exactly. It was for Negroes. And when it pertains to Caucasian, what do they call it? White collar crimes, don't they? Smack you in the wrist and you run with it. Oh man, this is what they're going to do to him. They're going to get him. Now, it says, when the Negroes could not pay the fine and cost after legal proceedings, they were to be hired at public what's this outcry? What's the public outcry? I don't even know what that is. By the sheriff to the lowest bidder.
They became indentured servants until they could pay off their debts.
Wouldn't it be like a snitch?
Well, no.
No, I'm just saying, listen, though, wouldn't it be like a snitch today?
Could be.
You do something to inform me on what's going on.
Right, right.
We'll let you go. Don't they do that? Tell me what's going on, we're going to let you go.
Right.
Just fill us in. They are indentured servants.
Right, right, right. But what I'm saying more to the point is that, the public outcry is that based on the fact that you can't pay your fine, your charge, your fee,
Yes. Huh?
okay, that we are going to, in effect, hold you over because now you have become property of the state.
They already are property of the state.
I know they are.
They ward to the court.
Right.
They wards. They have awards everywhere. If anybody pick up a Webster's dictionary and look up the definition of a ward, it says the keeper of minors or keeper of insane people. So now you have a ward and you go to jail, you have what? A warden.
Mm-hmm.
So really you're a person of unsound mind. You're not capable of handling your own affairs. This is what they're doing. So and what I'm trying to show is that the connection between the two, or what they did back then, is still in the books. The game is the same, but the players are different. The game is the same, but the players are different. Don't try to steal that, everybody, because I heard a couple people say you're going to steal that piece right there. And I'm just trying to show you what is going on with this. So we talked about this guy not having a license. Anybody pick up the U.S. Constitution or their state constitution, if you were Michigan, New York, wherever you at, Pennsylvania, it would tell you the same thing. The states cannot get involved with you bearing arms.
Quick question.
Can't interfere.
Were the black codes ever truly eliminated from, even though we understand in an indirect way they are still in force, but as an overview of an outward leg, what's the best way to say that? Can anybody just go and find in the law books black codes?
Yeah, I thought it right here.
Okay.
The black codes, actually, it's in this book.
Which book is that again?
This is Black's Law Dictionary.
Okay.
I'm ready to go right to it. I'm glad you brought that up because I looked at it last night, and really I wanted to read this for people. It's actually in here. And if we can get a close-up on it also so people can see this. That's why I said I wish we had this set up. 1 second. Should have had this bookmarked also. Huh? Say that again?
Papers.
Huh? What you say about my papers? Here you go. This is taken from Black's Laws, 6th edition, page 170. The Black Code, a name given collectively to the body of laws, statutes, and rules enforced in various southern states prior to 1865, which regulated the institution of slavery, and particularly those forbidding their slaves to be in public or public convenience. And it talks about the Civil Rights Act in here. So the Black Codes are in Black's Law Dictionary. So yes, it's in there. You can find it. And it said prior to 1865. But what happens, you heard them say it's the codes, the statutes, and regulations. So when you're dealing with city ordinances, there are regulations regulating the slave, no matter what state you in. So they say, oh, well, that was the southern states. They did it, they only took what they did in the southern states and brought it also up to the north, too. Same thing. Like I said, the game is the same, but the players are different. Same exact thing. And most of this stuff took place down in those places, I believe.
Well, you got a lot taking place. I mean, the criminalization, the part of actually putting free blacks or free Negroes, however you want to term it, incarcerate them. Some of the first places to do that was right here in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, yep.
Okay, with the, what is that, Eastern Penitentiary?
Yeah.
Was the first place to be set up to actually house Negroes, as they call them, who could not pay their fines, their fees, their charges.
They doing that right now.
Right.
All right. So, this is what is happening out here right now. So, you don't have a license, but you have a right to carry or bear arms for your protection and your family. You have that right. But the reason why they didn't want the Negroes to have the arms is why? Why? They're going to turn them against
Retaliation.
them. Retaliation, right? So now, if I know I'm over here and I know I'm going to beef with you and I had you in bondage, brother, I'm not going to allow you to have anything. So, if you become conscious, what will happen? So I'm going to get you the best way I can on my side. That's the art of war. I'm going to get you to come on my side so you won't fight again. I'm going to pamper you. I'm going to give you gifts. I'm going to give you something better than the other one. So now you have all these Negroes that say, well, I got a license to carry a gun. Really, it's a privilege because if it's your right, you can't be taken. So now I'm over here working for somebody else, not even realizing that I'm working for them. And when they want to come and sweep it up and take it from me, they can take it from me. But we don't even see this. I mean, so we so blinded to what is going on.
What other areas, as you were talking about, like the OJ, what's the similarities in the OJ case?
Okay, I was going to go into that.
Past and present.
If anybody, again, go back to the black codes, there was a violation for interracial marriages. Interracial marriages cannot take place. So, the case with OJ married the Caucasian. They didn't like that. He don't know the black. I don't even know if you know about the black code. The black code said that interracial marriages were forbidden. And then whether you want to believe it or not, racism still exists. It still exists to this day. And if anybody saw CNN the other day, last night, with that Caucasian lady talking about him killing his wife, it wasn't about him killing his wife. It was about him killing the Caucasian. That's what it really was about, but she can't say it so much on television like that. But that's what it was about. If he was killing a sister, it would have been done and over with. It would have been done. One underneath the bridge. That's all it would have been. But the black code states the former slaves were forbidden to carry firearms or to testify, except in cases concerning other blacks. Legal marriages between blacks were provided for, but interracial marriage was prohibited. Let me read that again. It says, legal marriages between blacks were provided for, but interracial marriages was prohibited. So they could not have interracial marriages. It was forbidden.
So my, to kind of play the other side of it, most people would say, oh man, that was old. We can marry, intermarry, different things of that nature today. We do it all the time. But I guess my question would be, is how can they do it if, quote unquote, black laws, black codes are still in effect?
Because people are not studying the law. They're not studying law, period. For two races to intermarry, or two people of the same race, it was not, you didn't need a license to do that. We never, if anybody looking at this right now can show me anywhere in the Bible, we said that the marriage license was out there. I mean, please correct me. Maybe I'm wrong. Because if they can show me the Bible where they say they had marriage licenses at, you know what I mean?
But I'm talking about an interracial couple.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm showing you, those people in that book was who? It was us.
Yeah, what's up?
So if we're talking about people inside the book, that is us, there was no reason for a marriage license, right? So now, I think it's after 1930 when they started with this license thing, because now they saw it was a business. Prior to that, it was forbidden. You had to get married in front of a minister. But people still get married in front of a minister, right? Why? Because the minister now what? He's the witness for y'all to get married. They say by the power vested in me, whatever state you're in, you're man and wife. So he was the one that take it back now and say, I married these people. It was really forbidden. So now we said, hold up, we can make some money off of this. Hold up. Let's license them to do this. License to get married, license to get a divorce. It's all right now. Remember I said the disguise is still there. The game is the same. but the players are different.
So that, are you saying in some kind of way that based on the fact that the code still exists, regulations still exist, however you would like to term it, based on those particular things, that if they want to come back on you,
They can come back.
they can come back on
You just left it open.
Okay.
It's left it open. It's a privilege.
So what does that have to do? Because you were mentioning something earlier with same-sex marriages.
Oh yeah, we was talking about that. Because it's a privilege up to the state. Because the state can regulate a license. Because now it becomes an occupation, which is a business. They don't care about all this stuff. You ever hear the slogan, it's just business? You heard that slogan, right? It's just business. That's all it is. Nothing personal. Just business. So if I'm coming to you conducting business with you, it doesn't matter what my sex is. It's business. So now they contemplating saying, wait a minute, should we allow them to do it? Oh, well, we might have a uproar over these people. Just let them do it if they're going to do it. It's business. That's how they look at it. It's about money. How much money I can make off of this. But for two people to marry of the same race is not, you don't need a license. And I just want to read something taken out of Black's Law Dictionary, then we're going to go directly to this. And this is taken out of Black's Law Dictionary, page 973. Two things in here. And people pay attention very closely. It says a marriage certificate, it says marriage certificate, an instrument which a marriage and it is exercised by the person officiating it and the marriage. It is not to intend to be signed by the parties, but is evidence of a marriage. Right? You heard what it said. It says it's just an instrument between you and your wife. A certificate, right? Below that, it says a marriage license. A license or permission granted by public authority to persons who intend to intermarry, usually addressed to the minister or the magistrate who is to perform the ceremony, or in general term to anyone authorized to solemnize the marriage by statute in most jurisdictions. This is by statutes. The statutes are not law. And can we get a close-up on this for people can see? This is taken from Black's Law Dictionary, page 973. Do the research on it. It's right there, the yellow highlight.
Fades out.
You what?
You can't see it because it's so small the writing.
Well, don't worry about it. Well, by law dictionary. It then, what happens, you have to look up, what was I looking for? It talks about looking up this interracial. But in the law, and this is why it's very important to actually have a law dictionary. Oh, and it says intermarriage, right? Interracial marriages. Now, when you look up interracial marriages, it tells you go see what's that word again, honey?
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation. Interracial marriages, it says, say it again.
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation. This is a wild word. So when you go to miscegenation on page 999 of the Black's Law Dictionary, now I want everybody to read this.
Like your president-elect is a miscegenated child.
Wow, yes. He is,
He
isn't he?
is.
I know.
He is.
I know. That's the greatest president alive, dude. Psych. Miscegenation now. Now I'm showing you how you go back and forth to research these things. It says interracial marriages. Look up interracial marriages. It says miscegenation. You go to miscegenation. It says a mixture of races. The term formerly applied to marriages between persons of different races. See what I'm saying? So it says statutes prohibiting marriage between persons of different races have been held to be invalid and contrary to the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution.
Read that again.
Wow. It says statutes prohibiting marriages between persons of different races have been held to be invalid as contrary to the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution.
And where you reading that from?
This is Black's, man, we gotta, we got it.
Can
we,
tell you where it's from?
man, this is Black's Law Dictionary, page 999.
What edition?
6.
You heard it first.
Wow. It said it was invalid. This is why all this stuff is happening to brothers that want to intermarry. It's a total violation of what's going on. Total violation. So you don't need a marriage license to go out and get married. You and your husband sign a certificate. You don't need them in your business then. Once you get, and actually, when you look up marriages, it talks about the marriage license or the marriage periods under the Police Powers Act. So if it's under the Police Powers Act, now they can come in your house, kick you out, put you out your house, take your children. This is all laid out in the black codes already. All this is laid out in the black codes. And I can't find it right offhand, but when you read these things and what happens now, when you have a child, if the mother's not free, the child is not free. So now they say that in the black, now this is all stuff that's located in the black codes. You may can find the black codes in Webster's dictionary. And I dare anybody to say that, okay, that's old Sabir. No, everything that they're doing is always codified. That's why they call these things codes. It's to code, to hide, to codify, the codes. Everything is code, like Moorish codes. It's codes. It's still there. The game is the same, but the players are different. So they saying if the mother is a slave, then the child is a slave. So I would suggest people to go out and get these black codes and really start researching. I'm trying to find a part, because some people may look at this right now and say, this guy, he's making this stuff up. I mean, trust me when I tell you, when you look at this, you're going to be like, wow. And start asking these questions to these politicians that's out here. I want to find this. All right. Now, dealing with the children. The children, and now I brought up OJ, interracial, Kobe, interracial marriages, all these different interracial marriages and things like that. This is why these guys in the NFL, NBA, athletes, rappers, whatever you want to say, they're getting spanked because nobody's giving. They think everything is hunky-dory, slavery is over. The physical may be over, but the mental is not over. They're not going to change just because you're free. They give a couple of so-called Negroes a freedom or a leadway to do certain things. You know, to say that they made it or so-called arrived. You know, and they need to study that book, The Miseducation of the Negro. There's a lot of stuff inside that book. Carter G. Woodson, you know, and I haven't even read the whole thing. Now, let me go back. We talked about OJ. We talked about Negroes not having firearms. They cannot have firearms. And they also speaks about, in the black codes, about Negroes not standing in a crowd. Now, my man just told me he came home from Iraq. He was in the military. He said, yo, Sabir, do you know that they didn't allow us? And I want people to start examining these things. This is, like I said, this is a lesson tool right here. I want people to start observing these things. My man just came home from the military. He said, Sabir, you know what? They didn't allow us to be in a pack, you know, as a group. They didn't want us to be in a group. You know, we went out, you know, together. They don't want you to go out. Some people say, no, that's old. No, that's not going on. No. I don't want to name people names, but people that's near the Pentagon, that works for the Pentagon, told me this. People who work there look like us, melanated people, said that they never allowed them to come or have lunch together. They always had them going to lunch at different times, not a group. The black code states that if any group of Negroes was together, it was to separate them. It was to separate them. Do not allow them to be on the corner together or in crowds, period. They said day or night. These things are in the black codes. Now let's move up to 2008. Boom. I used to live around a bunch of Caucasians. I said, why did they never bother them? But yet, right now to this day, you won't have to believe it or not, just start watching it. Just watch these things. They will pull up on a corner full of brothers. It could be 2 or 3 of them. They'll say, what are you doing on the corner? They'll give you a story and say, well, I heard somebody complaining. You have a right to stand on anywhere you want to stand at. You have a right. It's your right to stand where you want, as long as you're not obstructing the highway. That's not, the highway will be the street. I'm not obstructing or stopping anybody from walking past. This is what they'll try to use. This is in their codes. This is in their, matter of fact, I believe it's in their ordinances or regulations or somewhere. But you can research these things. It says obstruct. They'll use the term obstructing the highway. The highway, they say that's preventing someone from walking past. So if I'm on a sidewalk, I'm not preventing anybody from walking past. or I'm not in the street preventing anybody to drive past. That's obstructing the highway. So if I'm standing, it's my right to do that. But again, the black code said if you see a group of them, be it if it's day or night, it can't happen. They don't. That's forbidden, and you get penalized and punished for that. That's from back then to what's going on now. Like I said, the game is the same, but the players are different. It's the same. So we thinking that we are done with all that. No,
Yes,
we black code.
it's interesting how we've actually internalized a lot of that.
Wow.
Because as we stand, it doesn't even have to be on the corner. We can
No.
stand in the middle of the block
Yeah.
when a police quote-unquote officer, or
Overseer.
an overseer, police overseer.
Say it again. Overseer, officer.
I got
Overseer.
you. Overseer. I got you. Comes along, we scatter
Yeah.
because we know that we're going to be harassed.
But it was funny because I was walking out the house with my son and the cop pulled up and he looked at me and my son and I stopped and looked at him because he's going to question me. I'm going to question him. Where do you get your authority from? Who gave you authority? What are you doing over here bothering us? See, this is what happens, and they use this fear factor or this fear tactic on us, man.
I'm reading in the Webster's dictionary, and I looked up the word police. Police is has French, Latin, and German roots, but within the brackets it says government of a city. How do you view that?
Because what happens to people, if people study the history of the police, you police your area. You're supposed to be policing, not them. See, because again, we don't understand the law, we get so caught up in thinking that they're the law. Like people says, they don't respect the law, and you have to uphold what they say, obey the law. That's what they say, right? But they don't understand that they are the law. The people are the law. And the police are the outlaws. You're the outlaw too, because you're outside of the law. But the real criminal, like my man, who was the dead press said, you're not in KRS-One, you're not looking at the real criminal. The criminal is the ones that's coming into your community. You're supposed to police your own people. We designated these people, and it really started with the sheriff. The sheriff is the one who deputizes these people. Sheriff is the highest officer of the land. So what happens, we have to police our own people. It only means you're policing the area. That's it.
It's funny that I'm now following kind of how you say it within Black's Law Dictionary, but you can also follow along the same way within Webster's Dictionary.
That's what I said though. Most of the stuff.
Which Webster's Dictionary, or which is the best types of dictionaries someone should get?
Unabridged, not the abridged.
Early editions, late editions.
The later edition, the old editions is better. The unabridged dictionaries, the ones about this thick. Get the older editions and make sure it's unabridged. Because when you read everything in the brackets. You can find almost the same thing in Webster's that you can find in Black's Law Dictionary.
Right, which is interesting because this is what I'm saying. I'm looking up the word government after I said, police means government of the city. So I look up government. It says to govern, and then I shoot over to the word, which government is a French word, and also it has aspects of Latin depending on its spelling. And it says to govern. And then you go over to the word govern, which is a Middle English word, also has Latin and Greek aspects to it, and it says to steer or pilot a ship, direct command. Now what does that have to do with a city?
Because, let's go back. Let's build. Now, there's a term.
You want me to read that again? What is
Yeah,
that?
read that again, man.
Okay, it said govern, which is a Middle English word, which also has Old French, Latin, and German aspects depending on how it's spelled. But within the brackets it says to steer or pilot a ship, direct command.
Wow. It's a business, man. It's all businesses.
Well, somebody said earlier that, we operate with the laws of the sea.
Admiralty.
Right, admiral laws and not laws of the land.
Because there's two different things. If you find anything on the sea, really it's open to anybody who claims it. That's how it was. That's what the whole story of Amistad was about. Amistad was about the property. It was the personal property, which was movable property. And the Negroes were always classified as movable property. So a Negro can't have a gun. A Negro had to get permission to get married. A Negro had to get permission to get behind the wheel of a car. So now everybody said, "Why they do that to everybody?" Listen, it started out with you, and they saw it was profitable. It was marketable. That's anybody in any business. They say, if I say, "Hanif, damn dude, this iced tea will give you superpower. It's marketable." I may be lying, for real, but I'm hyping it up. It's all about marketing. Anybody in business law knows this. But there is a definition called self-governing. And see if you can find it in a book. There's a definition called self-governing. This is why I said the whole thing of us policing ourselves. Now this is taken out of a law dictionary again, Black's Law 6th edition, page 695. In this book it says, local government, the government of administration of a particular locality, especially the government or authority of a municipality, municipal corporation. All cities are municipalities. They're corporations. Now they talking about local government, but how did municipal corporations come into effect? Because how could a corporation be a government? Now, it says, of a municipal corporation as a city or a county over its local individual affairs. Go a little further. It says the Republican government, one in which the power of sovereignty are vested in the people and are exercised by the people. Let me repeat that again. Republican government, one which is the power of sovereignty are vested in the people and are exercised by the people. So how the hell a police officer going to tell you what to do? He's supposed to work for you, right?
Yeah.
So how he going to tell you what to do? Get off the corner. Or are you really part of the people, or are you part of the corporation? Which one is it? If the Negroes were classified as being property, or being movable personal property, read the Dred Scott case. It's in the Dred Scott case, it's in the black codes, it's in the laws, period. Everything is already codified. Your child does not belong to you. If the mother's a slave, then you become the slave. If the mother's not free.
Also says that you're a minor.
Exactly. You're a minority.
Mm-hmm.
So now, let's go back. If you look at Barack Obama, wasn't they talking about his mother more so than they did his father?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Where does the lineage come from?
Comes from the mother.
From the mother. So now, what is she? She's a free person. She has a nationality, right? She has a name. And who she is. It wasn't about the father. See? But this is what is happening. We don't see this because we don't research or read anything. Mm-hmm. We're just going with the tele-lie vision is telling us.
Again, doing a little bit of the follow-up work. The word city. Middle English, Old French, Latin, depending again on how it's spelled, means citizen. But when you move over to the word citizen, you come up with, again, Middle English, Old French, Latin, depending on how you spell it, and it means a state. Okay, so what I'm looking at in just this whole process is the interplay of words, and how that interplay of words, as it leads you around, always comes back to someone who is freeborn. Would I be correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. And the fact that the whole governance, the whole process of being the government is about being a freeborn person.
Exactly. You have to be freeborn. Because what happens, again, that's just why the black codes is the way they laid out. And people say they speak with the fourth tongue, I think it is, they say?
Fork. Uh-huh.
But they understand the manipulation. We need to study the laws. We need to study law, period. People say, well, this is the white man's law. Man, no such thing as no goddamn white man law. White man what? They're not scientists. You are the scientists. They're technicians. But they are good at manipulations. They're good at deception. This is what they're good at. This is their thing. But now you read that from a Webster dictionary, right?
Correct.
Now this is one from Black's Law Dictionary. And you can look up words and phrases. Words and phrases will give you a different definition, will give you similar. Corpus juris secundum. There's another one that you can look up and find a lot of information in there and see what the definitions are. You can go to any law library that you want to and just sit in there and spend time in there. Make it your second home, like I always say. It says, now you read city, right?
Correct.
Now most people say, well, the city is not a corporation. You ever heard that before? It says a government, right? Now we just going into the whole government structure, right? It says city, a municipal corporation. Repeat that again. A city, a municipal corporation in most states of the largest and the highest. Also, the territory within a corporate limits. Police work for corporations. They public officials. They public policy enforcers. That's why they go inside 7-Elevens and all these other stores and sign log sheets. Your property, their property. The stores are corporations. Same thing. Now, it says it's a territory within the corporate limits, a political entity or subdivision for local government purposes. I don't think people heard what I just said. A political entity or subdivision for local government purposes, commonly headed by a mayor and is governed by the city council. So what is the mayor's job? What is his job?
Well, I would propose that his job is to be the head of the immediate corporation.
So why people keep thinking it's outside of what they're talking about? It's like it's something great. He's the CEO of a corporation.
Correct.
What branch of government is that?
Most of the time it's construed as the city government.
And what branch of government?
Oh,
You got three branches
administrative.
of government.
Administrative.
No.
Which one?
What's the branch of the president? Well, you better start studying civics, man. Executive.
Executive
So
branch.
what's the branch of the mayor?
Executive branch.
All right, then. He's the head of what? The corporation.
Correct.
So that's all it is. It has nothing to do with nothing. He's the overseer or the gatekeeper or the